pouring down in Atlanta. But I just wanted to welcome everybody to the February installment of our Mentorship Mondays. I'm Ekta Gore. I am the co-chair of the Mentorship Monday committee. So I just wanted to welcome everybody here and get you guys started. I would like to welcome Nicole Ingram. She is the Director of Programs and Special Initiatives at Emory University Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, also a council member women of UGA. She will be our moderator today. So over to Nicole, and happy to have everybody here.
Thank you, Ekta. And again, good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be here. I have the esteemed privilege of introducing our panelists, and I will start with our mentor panelist, Allison Osmond. Allison is the Executive Vice President and Chief Customer Experience Officer for Delta Airlines. In this role, she oversees the end-to-end customer experience and the 65,000 team members in Delta's customer experience design, airport customer service, in-flight service and reservations, and customer care divisions who deliver those experiences. Allison began her career at Delta in May 1985 as a flight attendant after graduating with a degree in journalism from the University of Georgia. She is currently Delta's executive sponsor for human trafficking and the chair of the University of Georgia Board of Trustees. She also serves on the board of directors for Delta Community Credit Union and board of trustees for the William R. and Sarah Babb Smith Foundation. Next, we have Yvette Daniels. Yvette currently serves as the Director of University Relations in the Division of Workforce Management at the Georgia Department of Public Health, with responsibility for employee engagement, the Applied Learning Program, and establishing effective college and university relationships through the promotion of public health programs at the state and local level. She earned a bachelor's degree in political science from the University of Georgia and her Juris Doctorate from the University of Georgia School of Law. She's a Leadership Georgia graduate, and serves on the executive committee for the Morehouse School of Medicine's Prevention Research Center Community Coalition Board. She is a past president of the Stone Mountain chapter of Jack and Jill of America, Incorporated. Yvette Daniels served as the 77th president of the University of Georgia Alumni Association Board, ending her term June 30th, 2023. She is the first African-American woman to serve in this position. She currently serves as a trustee for the UGA Foundation Board and is a member of the UGA Board of Visitors for the School of Public and International Affairs. And our mentee today, along with myself, Avery Monthero. Avery is a data engineer on the in-flight service data enablement team at Delta Airlines, supporting field and catering operations by designing, maintaining, and optimizing data infrastructure for data collection, management, transformation, and access. She is passionate about using data to improve flight attendant employee experience and quality of life. Avery's on the board of Delta's South Asian Business Resource Group and volunteers with the Wellspring Living Girls program in the fight against human trafficking. Avery currently serves as a member of the UGA UGA Young Alumni Leadership Council. And as we begin today, I think it's important that we begin by defining mentorship. And we will share this definition on the screen. Thank you. Mentorship is a professional working alliance in which individuals work together over time to support the personal and professional growth, development, and success of the relational partners through the provision of career and psychosocial support. And we will begin by just asking two polling questions of everyone here today. So please pay attention to your screen so that you can respond.
Madam Moderator, I'm going to end the poll.
Thank you. Okay. It looks like we may have a little bit of work to do today, so I am looking forward to further conversation with Bethany as we begin to talk about how you can get involved as a mentor in UGA's mentor program. So we're going to come back to that in a little bit. And I think we have one more polling question, or was that it?
We're getting ready to launch the second one.
Thank you. And thank you all for participating in these polls. This will definitely help guide our conversation as we discuss mentorship today. So we'll have a couple more seconds before Erica closes the poll.
Madam Moderator, I am closing the poll.
Thank you. Okay, so again, a little work to do, but we're going to get this situated and we're going to get some great pearls of wisdom today about mentorship and help everyone get involved in UGA's mentor program or figure out how in your own workplace you can get a mentor or be a mentor to others. So now we will begin by looking at traditional mentorship programs or mentorship opportunities. And I'm going to ask Allison and Avery to share their experiences from a mentorship standpoint. And we'll begin with Allison, if you could please start by sharing.
Yeah, well, good morning, everybody, and happy Monday after the Super Bowl. Hope your team won. And truly just want to thank the women of UGA for hosting this. I think it's phenomenal. And when I think about, my career here at Delta, I certainly don't think I would be here without the many mentors that helped me all along the way, shepherded me. I believe it's the biggest opportunity to give back, honestly, and pay it forward. And so I make it a priority for my day job and to mentor others. And, I think the beauty of it is I get so much. I hope my mentees get something out of it, but I absolutely get so much from it myself. And Bethany, just a shout out to UGA, the mentorship program is so easy to be a part. For those of you, it looks like half, aren't mentors. It's so easy to be a part, and it keeps you on track. And so I'll put in a plug for that. And I know you're going to talk about it later, but I have Avery here, who is an incredible Delta employee, and so thankful to have her here. But Avery and I didn't actually get connected through the UGA mentor program officially, but it's kind of a funny story. I was sitting at my desk one day or over the weekend, and somebody texted me a little over 6 years ago to say the commencement speaker at UGA's graduation is on stage right now, and I'm in the audience, and she wants to be, her dream job is to be a Delta flight attendant. And I was like, what? Who is this person? And so it just so happened, I came back to work and did my work, and Avery was a Delta flight attendant in training. Anytime there's a bulldog that joins Delta, I am so excited and so proud. And so I reached out to Avery in her flight attendant training class and said, I'd love to meet you and say hello. And so we actually met when she was in the middle of class to be a flight attendant for 6 weeks. And that was the beginning of our connection. And that's been almost 7 years ago. And I just would just say it's been phenomenal. All that Avery's, poured into it, I've gotten back threefold. I hope that she has as well. So it's been amazing. She's, and I think the thing that I appreciate about, certainly about the mentor relationships that I have is, she's always prepared walking in the door with what she wants to talk about, and she's got it listed. they're very thoughtful questions, sometimes harder than I really want to answer or think that week. But it's amazing. And, what I get out of it is obviously she does work for Delta. I am responsible for a large group of employees here. And, I use the opportunity to say, Avery, help me out with this that's going on, in the Delta population right now. What do you think about it? And so it's been a phenomenal partnership now for 7 years, and I'm counting on it continuing. So thank you, Avery.
Thank you, Allison and Avery. We welcome the opportunity for you to share your mentee experience from your side.
Absolutely. I am so happy to be here. And I think Women of UGA, thank you for having us and for just continuing to remind us, like women, we have to help each other out. So very, very grateful for all that y'all do. And I love the mentor program. I guess from my perspective, Allison really summed up our relationship pretty well. Some things that I really take away from us that I think might apply to everyone here who's thinking about being a mentor. Allison did reach out, which was really amazing. And she reached out the first few times and she checked in on me my first summer of flying. And then at some point she was like, I'm going to put the ball in your court now to keep up and to handle the relationship. And I think that was really cool because I was like super nervous at first. I was like, oh my gosh, she's like really busy running the airline. Like she's probably going to think I'm annoying or something. And I think as mentors, you might just need to recognize like maybe your mentee is intimidated. Maybe they're joining the workforce for like your industry a little later and they just don't have the experience. They just don't know. So maybe you might have to make the first move or the first 2 or 3 moves. And that might really help your mentee like come out of their shell and really help your relationship form. I think Allison and I are super different and we go about things super differently. We have different backgrounds and experiences, which is great because she can challenge me in a lot of ways. But I think the reason I trust her so much with my career and like to speak into my life is because we have similar values. And so I think the way we might go about things is different, but I can trust that anything she tells me is because she knows it's probably for my best and for someone else's best too. So I think having similar values really builds trust. And then the last thing is that Allison is super, super about servant leadership. And I think my generation just kind of isn't always about that. And they're like, if this doesn't serve me, I want to cut it out. If this is hard, I don't want to do it. If it's for someone else and it's not for me, like I'm not into it. And that's been a really cool value to learn from her, that even in a work environment where I think like, I should deserve this or like, this should be fair or something, she is constantly reminding me that like to kind of be countercultural with it and to embrace servant leadership. So I think that's been really cool to have a mentor who's so strong and convicted in a value that for all of you, if you have something you're really passionate about, like please don't change it or try to like redefine it or do something different, because the right mentee will find you and they will like their lives will be changed for it. So yeah, that's our relationship. I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you so much, Avery. I absolutely love your energy. I definitely agree with you on the points of that it's okay to be different. It's okay to be in different fields. I think for me, I think back to a talk that I attended about building your personal board of directors. And one of the things that they talked about is everybody should not be in the same field as you or look like you or align with you. So I definitely think that's right on point. Yvette and I's relationship actually is a little different. We kind of represent the non-traditional mentorship model. Excuse me. I got to know Yvette through, again, our servant leadership, as you said, for the Alumni Association. And I would see Yvette and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I have to talk to her. I have to get to know her. She is amazing. And for me, when I approached Yvette, I looked at things that we had in common. I knew that we belonged to the same sorority, and that was important. That was my intro to discussions with her. And we were at an event and I introduced myself and I just said, I would really love to get to know you better. And in typical Yvette fashion, let's talk about what you do. Let's talk about what your goals were. She's automatically willing to help, willing to serve, and willing to guide. And for me, that was really important. And because this is not in the workplace, This model looks really different. So it's not we have set meetings or anything like that. We run into each other and it's just a simple check-in. How are things going? What are you thinking about? And we have discussions about where I am, what my goals are, and not just from a professional standpoint. It's very holistic, talking about what my philanthropy looks like, what my home life looks like with my son, and what my professional life looks like. She makes sure that she covers all areas. And I think for me, that is important because all of those areas truly speak to my mental health, my wellness as a person. And that has been very beneficial as I think about who I want in my life, who I want to guide me and help me become the person, the woman that I want to be in the workplace and in my life personally. So Yvette, I don't know if there's anything that I didn't cover that you want to share before we move on to our next set of questions.
Sure. So it's so awesome to be here and see so many women on this call open to learning about how to be a better mentor, how to be a mentee. And I love that we get to also talk about non-traditional because Nicole is right. We kind of, we met as, not in the mentorship program officially. And every time we talk, I try to use that as an opportunity with any woman, especially a woman of color, a woman that looks like me, who I know may be struggling or may have some difficulty if they're new in their career, to just do a check-in and to really want to understand how can I help you? Because I've been there before. I know what it's like to look different and to be different and to maybe be the only woman in the room and give guidance and support. I think we need more non-traditional mentorship opportunities. We should all be trying to help more. When you help others, you'll get that benefit back. In fact, last night we were just chatting and getting ready for today, and I went right into mentoring and asking her how things were going and trying to figure out how I could help and who I could connect her with. So it's a space that I think we could all do a little bit more work in. We all should take some homework away to help another woman that we know may need a little bit of extra help.
Thank you, Yvette. And one question I have for all of our panelists, is it ever too late to get a mentor? I mean, is there an age limit? Is there something that we need to think about that stops us from getting a mentor?
Never. It's never too late. We always need support in wherever you are in your journey. I mean, if you think about, I'm at the back end of my journey, if I was not going to share my age, but you know, you still want to know what's next for you. What is that next thing and who's done it before and how can I do that? What should I be thinking about? I mean, as I think about going into retirement in the next 3 to 5 years, I don't want to stop working. I just want to do something different. And so I'm already looking at who do I want to talk to get some guidance as I kind of navigate that path. So I think wherever you are in your journey, in college, in high school, we should really be reaching out to younger people and helping them navigate and getting ready to come into college. Throughout we need help all stages.
I 100% agree. And I think I think we all need to be open to mentors of all right across the board. I work around a group, a lot of men, and I will never forget, and this was just a few years ago, and I've been at Delta, now 38 years, but this is, when I first got a seat at the smaller table with men and having a rough debate, and somebody that I would have never thought, jumped in as a mentor for me at that moment, and we established a relationship out of that meeting. But it was a male, who just jumped in the conversation and encouraged me. So I think at any point in your career, you need them. We all need them, to Yvette's point, and it doesn't matter the age or the gender or the race or be open to all those who want to shepherd you in your career.
Thank you, Allison and Yvette. And Avery, I know you put your response in the chat, so thank you so very much. And now I would like to take an opportunity to introduce Dr. Bethany Bagwell. She is the Director of Mentoring and leads the University Mentor Program, which is designed to personalize the networking experience for current undergraduate, graduate, and professional students as they connect with our mentors who are alumni, faculty, staff, and friends of the university. Bethany strongly believes in mentorship as both a personal and professional development tactic for all involved, and has personally experienced the transformational bonds generated through mentorship. So Bethany, I give you an opportunity now to share types of mentorship and what that looks like.
Yes, well, thank you all for having me. And I have really enjoyed hearing these stories. It's one of my favorite parts of my job. And even if these formal connections don't happen within the platform, just knowing that mentorship exists in these space and that we're talking about it, it really does make a big difference. So, there is all kinds of mentorship opportunity and just different ways that you can go about it. And so I really think that if you are, or as you are considering mentorship, either as a mentor or a mentee, think about where you are in your life and what it is that you hope to gain. You have to do some personal reflection. That way you can really seek out and make sure that you are getting what you need from that. We have that traditional one-on-one connection, right? Where it's a little bit of back and forth, but there's lots of other opportunities. There's peer mentorship, which can have a lot of really positive outcomes. We see that for students all the time, but I think that's true in the workplace. You know, I think about the help that I got as I came into this role. I was previously a high school administrator, so coming into higher ed and having people around me who could lift me up and show me the way here really made a difference. You have group mentoring, and we're actually slowly rolling out this opportunity with the mentor program. We're calling it Circles of Success, but where there's one mentor and a group of students. I think that's a great way to help break through that barrier of being intimidated, right? If you can bring a friend or a person with you who makes you feel comfortable, being able to approach that mentor can really help put you at ease and create, you know, just a different opportunity for connection. There's something called flash mentoring. We call it quick chats. Informational interviews is another way that you may have heard that I think is really great. In our program, we tend to see a lot of seniors who are like, I'm graduating in a few months. I need to network really quickly. And so they'll have those conversations, and I think that's great, but it really, again, it depends on what it is you're looking for. And I think out of all of, you know, there's reverse mentoring, which we see in a lot of companies. I know I was speaking with a mentor and she talked about UPS has a really robust reverse mentoring program. So it's really just thinking about what style you want. You know, do you want to meet in person? Are you okay meeting virtually? You know, because then you could have a mentor who lives internationally, or even just in another state or a city. And so thinking really carefully about what it is you're looking for. At the same time, I think it's important to be open to the direction that your mentor leads you. You know, Nicole and Yvette, your relationship, like it may not have, like, it sounds like Nicole, you talked about, she's just dropping knowledge on you all the time that you might not have even known that you needed. And Avery, the same between you and Allison. So I think having a plan, but being open to pivot is also really important. And so just taking those conversations, you know, having structured flexibility, I guess, is a really important piece to consider.
I don't know how to participate. Do I raise my hand or what?
Hi, Miss Beverly. Thank you for joining us. You can go ahead. Did you have something you wanted to add?
I do. I wanted to say, I'm Beverly Copen, and I'm living in Rome, Georgia, and I'm right next to Berry College. And so I actually have 3 mentors. I am currently 86 and still very active. And I graduated from UGA as an entrepreneur in journalism. And what I have found with my mentees, they don't always come just because you wanted them. Sometimes I'm doing a program over at the college, and one will stop over to me and say, can I have some one-on-one with you? And that turns into an informal mentorship because they need to know something very specific. But the fact that that I have been taking an entrepreneurship path with journalism, and I use those skills every day of my life, have used them every day of my life from Georgia, that I have really, I think my mentees as not just for your junior year or your senior year, I'm happy to be with you the rest of the way. And I still connect with each one of them. So to me, it's not a 1 semester, it's not a 1 year thing. It's a lifetime thing if they choose to have it and if you choose to keep it. Because it's a matter of fear factor. When they are thinking about something new, and they don't know who to turn to that they can really totally trust. And to me, that's part of what being a good mentee is. A mentor, sorry.
Thank you so much, Ms. Beverly. I think that's key information, and we really appreciate your thoughts. I am going to ask one question, and this is kind of along the lines of what Ms. Beverly is saying, but for our panel, let's talk about why mentorship is important. Avery, I'm going to start with you.
Okay, great. There's so many reasons, but I would say for me, it's really nice to have someone who can like point out the proverbial bagel seeds in my teeth, you know what I mean? And someone who has more experience and can gently and kindly, but very clearly be like, maybe not the best idea. Have you thought about this? What if you did this differently? How could we do this better? And that's really nice to have someone who I know is invested in, cares about me growing, and who will actually tell me.
Thank you so much. Allison, do you have anything to add?
I would just say, I think I know for me, my mentors have had just a huge impact on my career, because they were willing to they're willing to be transparent, tell you the good and the not so good, and reinforce you right on the things you do really, really well. And, I was a little bit naive. I think when I started my career, I thought, well, you'll have one mentor that carries you through. But and oh my goodness, that's not, you have, there are mentors all around if you're willing to open up and take advantage of it. And so I think again, that not only the feedback that you can give as a mentor or receive as a mentee, but also just, the connections. It's a busy world. There are lots of people, companies, or whether they're big or small, right? Just being able to connect you to people that might be able to share even more knowledge with you or expertise. And so think of it as a connector of sorts as well. So.
Thank you. Yvette, do you have anything you want to add to that?
I would just piggyback on Allison's comment, because I think what it helps you do is that practicing on how to build relationships, because that's like your first opportunity in a very safe space to build relationships. And that's what you ought to be doing throughout your career, building relationships, and you'll meet other mentors along that path.
Thank you. And I think right now we have a poll that we're going to do. Erica, thank you. And we'll just wait to give everyone a chance to answer the question.
Madam Moderator, I'm ending the poll.
Thank you. All right. I think we're all in agreement. So we're making some progress. We've heard some great things from everyone. Bethany is getting us on track about what currently exists in the UGA Mentor Program and what's coming. I'm personally looking forward to this circle of success. I think that's going to be an amazing approach to mentoring. And so we heard a little bit about qualities of mentors before. We've heard about differences, we've heard about trust. And Bethany, I'm actually going to start with you on this question. What qualities do you think are important for a mentoring relationship?
Yeah, this is actually a slide in all the presentations that we do, because I think a lot of people assume, like, you know what, I wouldn't be a good mentor. Like, I don't have anything to offer, or they're just not sure. And really, it's if you have a heart for people and you are just willing to be authentic and vulnerable and listen, you'll be a great mentor. I think you have to recognize in that space that you will never, ever, ever have all the answers. But sometimes just being able to have that safe space where you can ask questions and troubleshoot. And Avery, like you said, like, yes, keep going, or 0% stop and pivot. Like that matters before you get out in the world. And so that's really important. So I think if you're even contemplating, or have an interest in mentorship, that's telling yourself something, that you are ready for this, and that you would be a great person to connect with. I think if you will seek out that and create that safe space, build that trust, offer that confidence for people, be a relentless, source of hope and optimism. Especially for our graduates coming out, like our students graduating in May, this is their first graduation. They missed high school graduation. And so recognizing where they are coming out into the world, even though we assume that, the pandemic has been over, like the impacts aren't. And so just having that awareness, I think overall is really important.
Thank you. Anybody else want to contribute?
I just don't think that mentorship has an age limit at all, because one of my best friends is currently in her early 40s and has 2 children and lives in different countries. And so we have been friends forever. And she asks me my advice all the time. We do it on Zoom, we do it on texting, we do it on email. And so there's no reason why the mentor or the mentee can't be traveling somewhere else and have a situation come up and they need advice. And so it's really important to stay connected on a regular basis so that that mentee feels comfortable to know that wherever she or he is, that you're there for them.
Thank you.
I think the beauty, just a quick add, the one positive out of the pandemic, I think, is we were able to pivot into Zoom. I started mentoring students on campus in 2020, and I've mentored a student on Zoom every semester since. And I think that just opened up the door to say we can do it differently. And it makes it a little less intimidating, I think, as well.
It's opened up a whole new world for all of us, right? I think. And I think the only other thing I would say from a quality to look for as you're looking for a mentor, I think respect is at the top of the list. Somebody you respect. You may have different qualities and be to our conversation earlier, but I think you got to have respect in that person that you're wanting to be your mentor.
Absolutely, I agree, Allison. And then into our next question, talking about challenges that you as a mentor or mentee may have faced. And I'll just share that one space that's hard for me is that I'm naturally an introvert. So even leading this conversation today is definitely a challenge. And I think that my challenges don't come from relationships with mentors, but my things that I put in, fears that I put in front of myself. And it's because of people like Yvette. I can tell you that at ALA one year, she looked at me and she said, "Okay, Nicole, it's time for you to start talking. It's time for you to get out there." And that's a challenge for me. But my mentorship relationships have allowed me to build that skill set and continue to build that skill set and move forward. So I think it's as an empath, it's hard sometimes to hear the truth. But learning that it's not personal and that it's for your betterment, and not shying away from those, those crucial conversations, I think are really important, and understanding that your mentor has your best interest at heart. So again, panel, any thoughts on difficult or challenges that you may have had in these relationships or other relationships?
Yeah, I would mention just too, I think, and I really have been very fortunate, but I think just making sure that with the relationship that everybody's on the same page as far as expectations. What's gonna be the outcome, right, of this relationship? And I think there have been some differences along the way. So I just think being clear on that on the front end, and this really, again, it's not so much a challenge, but I'm sure some of the others, many of you are mentors. I just so appreciate everybody's time is busy, the mentors and the mentees. And the one big challenge I've had is just people blocking the time and they're not prepared. They don't have it's like waiting on the mentor to talk. And I really want to be there to pour into, what they want to. I certainly challenge my mentees, on what are your goals? What are you seeking, right, to do in your career, and how can I help you? But I think using the time as wisely as you can for both is so important. And that's been, again, I think the only thing I would say just from a challenge perspective.
I think for me, not a whole lot of challenges with my mentors. I think sometimes with mentees, especially on Zoom, how do you tell someone in a loving way? I'm always trying to kind of lead with love and kindness that, you should come to the meeting appropriately dressed, ready. And sometimes you have to find a nice way to say that, especially with younger mentees. I think that's been a challenge, and getting mentees to understand we don't have to cover it all in one meeting. We can space it out. We got time. We're booking appointments. I'm a big advocate of putting it on our calendar. I don't want to do it with a chance phone call or a chance text message. When you tell me you want to meet, whether that's once a week or every other once a month, I'm sending you an appointment. We're gonna make this really important for both of us so that we use the time wisely.
Thank you. And as you talk about time, in the sake of time, I'm going to take one of the questions out of the chat before I turn it back over to Bethany. And this question is, what is the difference in mentoring and sponsoring, or is there a difference? Allison or Yvette, I'm going to let you lead this question.
I think it's different. I think because you can have a mentor that's in your workspace, but both of my mentors even though they've helped me throughout my career, neither one were in my actual career path. They actually both did very different things. I think of sponsorship as someone that's in your company, in your organizational structure, that is there to advocate for you as you move through the process of trying to get better projects, to get a promotion, to do better in your career. That would be how I would see it's different. And Allison, I'm sure, can add even more to that.
No, I would agree with Yvette, and I think it's really helping them get visibility to different experiences within the organization or different people within the organization. It's more of an you're actively, certainly as a mentor, mentoring someone, but this is truly, I have a relationship with this person. I know this mentee extremely, extremely well. I know their makeup, their skill sets, and I'm going to physically help sponsor and advocate for them in a broader, more deeper way, I would say.
Thank you. And Bethany, at this time, two questions that I'm going to pose for you are, what solutions does the UGA Mentor Program ensure a successful mentorship? And can you tell us more about how someone can sign up for the mentorship program?
Yeah, for sure. And Allison and Yvette and Avery, y'all feel free to chime in because you've been on the receiving end of some of these supports. So, to help facilitate a successful relationship, we have oodles, I think would be the official term, resources available. Even as mentees and mentors are getting started on our website. So we have, like different reflection guides. One is called How Can a Mentor Help Me? And it looks so simple, but it is so helpful to really thinking through what is it that you want from this. So like Allison mentioned, coming prepared to say, hey, here are some of the things I want to talk about. And so it's like, having that reflection piece ready to go to say, hey, here's how I want to move through it. So we have a lot of just like loose resources available on our website, but once you're actually connected in the program, there's lots of different checkpoints. So we'll send emails saying like, hey, you've been connected. We'll send emails saying, hey, you've been matched for 1 month. Here are some resources to consider that will help keep you on track. We'll also send an email that's like, hey, your mentorship is getting ready to conclude. You have 2 weeks left. And so sort of just these nudges to say, you're still connected. And here are some things to be thinking about. You may find you've never used any of those resources, and that's okay. They're there just to simply help guide. But I think having something to rely on. We have continued to create resources based off of feedback from mentors and mentees, which I think has been really helpful. One's a communication guide, How do you write an email? How do you present yourself on Zoom? How do you, schedule a meeting and then send an agenda and then follow up after the meeting to make sure you recapped everything? And like Yvette likes to assign homework. What was their homework? What is it they're going to work on? And so I think, some of that training piece is what we try to offer as well. In terms of how to join, you can check this slide out. It's super easy. You can go to mentor.uga.edu and you can sign up as a mentor. So as an alum, you can be a mentor. If you are going back to school or in school as an alum again, so, looking at earning that second degree, then you can be both a mentor and a mentee, which is really cool. That's kind of the sweet spot, is what we say, if you're in grad school and you're going back. And so you can utilize the program both ways, which is really great. Create your profile. We really encourage people to make sure that profile is really robust. Put as much information as you can on there, because students can search based off of anything that you put on that, and you never know what part of your story students are going to want to connect with. Put a profile picture. They want to see you, right? That makes a big difference. And so that will definitely help as well. I think too, being patient, recognizing that you may join the program and not get matched right away. And that can be really frustrating, because you're so excited. You're like, yes, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to mentor. And then you're like, I haven't been matched yet. I'm the director of the program and got matched, just a few months ago. So it does take time. But we have lots of other ways for mentors to get involved and to help promote them and get their names out there and things like that. So that is great as well. Keeping in mind too that this is student driven, so you cannot search the student profiles, but they can search yours. And then once you get connected, that's when you can look through their profile and say, yeah, I think this would be a great fit. Or if you don't have the capacity, you're not sure that you can, serve in the way that they're asking, be honest with them, right? We want this to be mutually beneficial. And so say, hey, you know what? I don't think that this is a great fit. That's okay too. And then, we help facilitate that on our side. We'll get messages and help get them connected to someone else. So lots of great ways to get involved and connected. Allison had mentioned this earlier. It is a super user-friendly platform. We want it to be that way. We don't want you to have to think about, anything. So it's very intuitive, which I think is also really helpful. We do have some great events coming up. So we did have a UMP 101, just kind of an overview on Friday, where we got to hear from some great mentor-mentee pairs and just talked more generally about the program. We'll have another one in the fall. But in terms of events coming up here in the spring, we do have a mentor skills webinar. So this is a great opportunity to hear from some of our campus partners and trends that they're seeing across different student groups and how to better support them. If a mentee is saying, hey, I'm really struggling with them, or with, this, how can you get them connected to someone else on campus? So trying to provide some support and professional development for our mentors. And then this mentor meetup discussion is a space for mentors to come together to where we can share best practices and challenges. We had a great resource developed. It's our latest one from a conversation that came out of that. And Avery, you touched on this a lot about how to coach those mentees until they get to a place where you can transition and say, okay, now this is yours, right? And that's a part of mentorship too. So those are two great opportunities that we have coming up for mentors specifically this semester.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bethany. I can tell you that I was someone, because my area of expertise is so specific, it took quite some time for me to get matched with a mentee, but it was a great experience once I did get a match. So super excited about that, and hoping that the circles of success will create an opportunity to help other people that would not normally select me as a mentor. I think that will be a good way for more people to get involved as well.
That's the hope.
Sorry, go ahead.
I said, that's the hope.
My final question for the panel, we've talked about qualities, we've talked about needs, we've talked about challenges. Can we talk a little about expectations, managing expectations of a mentor, of a mentee? I'll start by sharing, for me, from the mentee perspective, how I help to manage expectations, and then I'll open it to the panel to answer that as well. For me, what's important is communication. And I think that is vital in this. You know, my workload may be intense one week, and, you know, Yvette may say, well, I need you to do this and get back to me. But I have to be realistic with myself about what I have to do. So it is my job to make sure that I share with her, well, Yvette, this is my workload. I have this pressing project that I'm working on. I promise to get this done by X date. But I think that is how I manage expectations of what my mentor is looking for me to do or to complete. And I would expect that my mentor would also say to me, Nicole, I can't meet this week because this is happening, or can we push back a couple of days for whatever reason? So I think communication is vital in managing expectations. And I open it to the rest of the panel to answer that as well.
I think going back and looking at what you want to accomplish, you know, going back to that and maybe breaking it down in bite-sized pieces, because you can't, you know, Rome was not built in a day. There are a lot of things that you may want to get from your mentor, and really being honest and open about what you hope to accomplish. And then as a mentor, I'm going to say, well, here's all the things you said to me. Here are the things I'm really good at, and I think I can be helpful with you on. And if I can't meet all your expectations, I may actually even try to connect you with someone else who I think has that skill set. So I won't try to do it all if I know I can't. And I think it's that honest conversation, the safe space, you know, making sure you understand that whatever you say to me is safe. I want you to be successful, and I'm going to help you get there, but it may not be a straight line, and maybe me having you talk to other people to help along the way.
Thank you. Avery, do you have anything?
Always. I think, okay, a lot along the lines of what you said, Nicole. Like, I think I have to recognize Allison is pretty busy, and of all the mentors in my life, she is the only one who's responsible for like 60,000 employees at work every day. So I just kind of have to be cognizant of that. And I think whenever I've needed her, she like for like, hey, I really need help with this decision, she's made time in the week. But recognizing like, yeah, we don't see each other every week or every month, and we work on the same hallway, you know? And so I think for me, the way I've overcome that is like, I would never put that expectation on her, but I found other mentors who like are way more readily available, who are here that can answer kind of similar things sometimes when I need them. And so kind of building out that board of directors has been my solution for it.
Thank you so much, Avery. And one, I want to say thank you to our panel. You guys are amazing. Thank you for the work that you're doing, and all the time that you donate to the university. We really appreciate it. We have a couple of minutes for questions from the audience. So I'm going to ask that you use your raise hand function to ask to signify that you have a question, and we will take as many questions as we can in the next couple of minutes. So if anyone would like to use the raise hand function, which can be found in the reaction section, we are happy to hear your questions and answer. Christy?
Christy?
Hi everyone, I'm Christy. I am a 2011 graduate. Um, for me personally, I'm trying to get back connected into our alumni chapter, and I recognize that I didn't really take advantage of the opportunity to obtain a mentor. And now I'm in a space of life where I'm kind of transitioning, and I'm trying to figure out the best way about finding the right mentor for me. What that looks like, I guess, as a more, I won't say, I guess not seasoned, but an older adult woman, trying to navigate it. I never really had a mentor throughout my life, so I'm kind of new to figuring that out. So I would like just some advice on how to best go about connecting or finding people to say build out their board of directors for myself as I'm going forward in my career and personal life.
So I'll take a stab at it. Christy, do you live in Atlanta?
Yes.
So I think the easiest way, couple things is if you want to get back connected to the Bulldog Nation, which is where you're going to find a plethora of people to support you, is starting to come to events like this. And, there may be someone on this Zoom that you saw that you hadn't seen in a long time that you want to connect back with. If there's someone on the panel that you think you may want to chat with, that's kind of how it starts. It's really just building relationships with people. And I think naturally from that, you'll find a mentor. You may find someone that I think I might want her to be my mentor, but I think it first starts with re-engaging in some of those spaces and coming to things and meeting people and building out your relationships.
Yeah, and I would say, Christy, just to add to that, think about whether it's here, whether it's out in the community, whether it's where you work today, who do you respect? And reach out and say, can you give me 15 minutes? Can I buy you a cup of coffee? And, I think from that conversation, either that person can be it, or they can, to Yvette's point, they can connect you on kind of where you want to go with your career. But I think, don't feel like you got to find the mentor first off.
Right.
Find that person that's out there that you respect, male, female, who, and let them kind of be your guide.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else have a question? I know Sarah had a question in the chat, but she says Allison has answered her question. Anyone else? Hannah?
Hi. I'm also based in Atlanta. I am what you would consider a young professional. I'm very early in my career. I just started a new role at my company this year, which has been exciting but very intimidating. And so in terms of like mentorship, do you have any kind of tips or pointers for women working in very male-dominated industries? Sometimes I'm going to events and trying to connect with others, and it can be a little bit difficult because it feels that there's a disconnect when I'm in really heavy male spaces. And obviously, I don't want to discount those spaces, but I do want to be able to interact with them and be a little bit more comfortable interacting in them, if that makes sense.
Well, I can certainly jump in there. I think, is it Hannah? Is that right?
Yes.
I'm not one for playing games, if you will, but I think sometimes it goes back to what Yvette said. It's about building relationships. And, this was, several years back, but I was the only female in a room with 12 and met with these, every Monday. It was intimidating. They talked about Duke basketball every, Duke and the game and the game and the game. So I decided to learn about Duke basketball. And I mean, you just, number one, I think it helps to prepare yourself back to being prepared, prepare yourself for those intimidating meetings when they are all male and what they typically like to talk about. But at the same time, from that also gave me some street cred in the room. I started talking, it gave me more, empowered me more to talk about things that I wanted to talk about and were important to me. And, started interspersing some other things, right, that were important to me in the room. And so and that takes me to, this, what I'd referred to earlier, being in the room with male. I think, when I was in this room, again, all males, and this male leaned back in his chair and he said, Allison, you know what you're talking about. Lean in. You've earned a seat at the table. Sheryl Sandberg's book was what he was referring to, but he said, you know your stuff. Lean in and tell your story. And so encouragement. And I think the more you go, yes, it can be intimidating early in your career, but number one, find things that you can relate to and is net. And number two, be confident, right? You've earned your seat, you've earned that role, and find those people who can help encourage you to get that confidence that you need.
Thank you.
I think someone put in the chat, you can always talk about Georgia football and 2 past national championships, and that does make a difference.
Yes, ma'am.
The ice, And, and pay attention to what people, if you know them ahead of time, look at what they're interested in. We actually all have more commonalities than differences. We just have to take the time to dig deeper to find out what it is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, I want to say thank you to our panelists, and I am going to turn it over now to Tanisha to close us out of this portion of our day.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tanisha Cornelius. I am chair of Mentorship Mondays. And on behalf of the women of UGA, I want to first thank our panelists. Thank you, our moderator, and thanks to our attendees for attending this event. Mentorship is truly the gift that keeps on giving. And I learned a lot just from the panelists. And of course, Nicole, thank you for sharing your experience, because I'm an introvert as well. And I have a lot more to learn about just how to manage my mentees. So save the date. Our next Mentorship Monday is March 18th, entitled Eloquence Unleashed. We will discuss public speaking and help to prepare you for your next public speaking opportunity. In just a second, Raylene will divide us up into 3 or 4 breakout rooms. We will have our mentor-mentee pairs, 1 pair in each room, as well as Bethany and Destiny from the UGA Mentor Program. If you want to network, ask questions, please stick around for the next 30 minutes. And also just a friendly reminder, it's alumni like you that help to fund our Women of UGA Scholarship Fund. Many of you have already contributed, but we will send a post-event email where you can also donate if you choose to do so. Thank you again for attending, and have a great day.